developments tonight involving yet another twist in this ongoing Ysl Rico case. We're talking about a Fulton County Sheriff's deputy arrested earlier today and accused of trying to smuggle contraband to a defendant in the case. This deputy, Akiba Stanley, in this mugshot here, in the past hour, the Fulton County Sheriff announced she has been fired. And we have learned she was previously fired from the Atlanta Police Department when an investigation found she was unfit to serve as an officer. 11 Alive's Natasha Givens joining us now live in studio tonight. And in the past few hours, we received the arrest warrant for Stanley. So, Natasha, what is going on here?
Well, there's a lot to unpack, Jennifer. The deputy is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with Christian Eppinger by communicating with him on Instagram, visiting his cell, and trying to smuggle items to him. Now, you may recall Eppinger is accused of shooting an Atlanta police officer last year. He remains behind bars tonight, and the deputy is too. Akiba Stanley took an oath to serve and protect, but officials say her track record as an officer is now criminal. Her arrest warrants detail her having an inappropriate relationship with an inmate, visiting his cell, communicating with an inmate through Instagram, and trying to smuggle contraband to Christian Eppinger from one of his relatives. Eppinger is accused of shooting a veteran Atlanta police officer several times last year while he was being taken into custody. He's also a defendant in the Ysl Rico case awaiting trial. Stanley's charges include violation of oath of office, reckless conduct, and conspiracy to commit a felony. But this isn't the first time her conduct as an officer has been questioned. According to state records, Stanley started working for the Atlanta Police Department back in 2016. But during a 30-day period, she received several complaints. Some are outlined in this investigation obtained by 11 Alive. It states her actions during traffic stops made her unfit to be an officer. The investigation also found other officers complained about her behavior. She was terminated from APD back in 2018. Post-certification records also show Stanley was ordered to complete a 6-month ethics and professionalism course at her own expense back in 2020. She then began working at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office last October. And in a statement late this afternoon, the Fulton County Sheriff announced Stanley has in fact been fired, and he calls her actions reckless and put the lives of others in danger. Faith?
Latasha, thank you so much for bringing us that report.
So this all happened before the trial even happened. So now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, dang, bruh, is it the police who bad? Or is it him that's bad? And I'm only phrasing this like this because I want y'all to understand something. That cop had a laundry list of bad decisions that she made. She shouldn't have been put in that position. The fact that the police still hired her, I mean, wouldn't that make them accomplices? Or do they just got a big heart and they feel like they could train her out of that and everything like that? I don't know how the police work, but I will say this. There was flags anyways. That's the equivalent of you looking at somebody and saying, yeah, I think I might want to date that. But, you know, they don't show any affection. That's cool. They don't communicate. That's cool. They don't give it. That's cool. I'm going to change you, though. That's what that sound like. So, with no further ado, BHRIS came in, last week, 2 weeks ago, with his attorney, and they basically said, we ain't accepting what y'all giving because what they was giving was crazy. Check this out.
Who proceeded all the way through to jury verdict. A trial for any of the 4 of you would be before a different jury. I would suspect that a lot of the evidence would be the same. The way it is presented might not be the same. State's sort of story theory, if you will, might or might not be the same. And the ultimate outcome might or might not be the same. And I'll tell you, and I'm sure that all of your attorneys have told y'all that acquittals with a jury are a rarity. So just keep that in mind. It does not mean that the same thing would happen to you. Y'all, we've got a different prosecutor at the table who I hope would stay through the trial of the case. And it just is probably going to look a lot different. There's also a different judge at the beginning. So just keep that in mind. But I understand that for now, y'all will be rejecting that offer. All right. So we've got Mr. Eppinger. And I know Mr. Eppinger still has a motion pending. I will tell, and Mr. Johnson, you should now have all of the transcripts from the main witnesses who testified around the 2 attempted murder counts at trial. And if we are not having a plea today, I'm obviously we're not going to have that hearing today, but I would be interested in going ahead and getting that scheduled. And I will say that I have heard the testimony as it was presented at the last trial, and I have seen the videos. I don't know what might be presented at the immunity motion, but I'm fairly certain that those 2 videos would be presented again, and I'm already familiar with that, as are y'all, having had it in discovery for a long time now. But we're going to go ahead with the final plea now. So even though that motion is still pending, any plea that you might be interested in tendering at some further point in the case, if you ever decide to do that, would be non-negotiated. Just
understood, Your Honor.
Mr. Eppinger, you understand that as well? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Body, can you put on the record what the offer tendered to Mr. Eppinger was, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's offer as it relates to Mr. Eppinger was a global sentence of life imprisonment as it relates to the armed robbery and everything else to run concurrent on this indictment, but that sentence to run consecutive to the time he's currently serving in DOC custody, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Eppinger is facing a minimum of a life sentence and a maximum of 2 consecutive life sentences plus 145 years, Your Honor.
And I don't, this is just my quick count, but Mr. Eppinger is facing approximately 15 different felony charges on this indictment. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And if he were to proceed to trial and be convicted of all counts, in addition to everything running consecutively, so that it would be, I'm sorry, I think you said 2 life sentences plus 100 and how many?
165 years.
165 years. That time could also be run consecutively to the time that Mr. Eppinger is already serving on whatever he's convicted of already. So have you explained that, Mr. Johnson, to Mr. Eppinger?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that, Mr. Eppinger? Okay. All right. And was there something else you wanted to say?
No, just based on circumstances, I came to the podium to
Okay.
make an announcement. But given the state's offer, Your Honor, at this time we would reject that offer based on our view and our view of the evidence in this particular case.
All right.
So yes, we would reject that matter and like to proceed to trial.
All right. And once I get through everybody, or maybe everybody we can get through right now, I'll talk about trial dates. And I'll talk with y'all first about in the immunity hearing date as well. All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe that motion can be held as close to trial as possible.
Well, I mean, it could be, but I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in getting that taken care of as soon as possible.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Not December, though. Not that soon. Okay.
Wait. That's not Attorney Jones, is it? That's not the same Attorney Jones who left to the car, went to go find some stuff, and came back 17 minutes later and had to do the 17-page report. That ain't Christian Eppinger's attorney. He's still on the case. Oh, y'all don't even remember this. Man, check this out. I ain't gonna hold you. When I seen this, what was it, 2 years ago? I didn't even think it was real. Because now, the same professional, you know what, let's just get into it. Let me show y'all something.
Mr. Johnson, how are we doing on that paper? I mean, the importance of professionalism. Yours is due by the 28th of April. I'm just checking, I'm just clocking. So we on track? Well, your better half said she's not writing it for you either. Okay, well, just want to let you know that, okay? All right, so we're good? I'm sorry? Because that wasn't offered to you. You already asked me, could I pay the $1,000? I told you no. Well, I know you would, but that's not what's on the table. 28, yes, at noon. Or you do 20 days. It's 17-page paper on the importance of professionalism in the legal field and treating one's opponents with civility. Paper is to be published quality in APA format and at least 10 primary and 10 secondary sources. Means that we should be able to send it to the to either the Georgia, any one of our law, actually law review, or any other place that accepts publications, and it should be acceptable. Say again? Say again, Mr. Jimenez?
It's very difficult to get published, you know. I've never been published.
Okay, all right, okay. But that's another issue that we're not going to deal with today. But anyways, okay, so Mr. Johnson, we good with that? I mean, it needs to be of scholarly quality, basically, okay, that you would, that it's error-free and that you would turn in to satisfy a writing requirement.
So you're saying we're going to try to pass the class?
That's not what the order says, sir. Well, I'll put it this way. As long as you write it yourself and it is completed in the format as dictated, APA, at least 10 primary and 10 secondary sources, that will satisfy the contempt. I mean, I'm going to read it, and I mean, and if I don't find it to be of suitable quality, you'll redo it. But the other thing is, if you don't do it, the other option I have is to jail you for 20 days because it's not satisfactory. So I would suggest that you write it in a satisfactory manner. I'm not, you know, lawyers, we talk and write. That's our trade and stock. So I think you'll be able to do it. I know you'll be able to do it. You pass the competitive examination. You're a licensed lawyer. You have a 6-digit bar number. I am certain that you can do this assignment. Any other questions, sir? Okay. All right.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, no. Glenville. The same Glenn. The professionalism that you talked about that you didn't exude the whole entire time. All right, let's leave that alone. All right, that's enough deep. So, what happens in those previous clips? You see essentially the attorney speaking for his client, saying, we're not going to accept that. We're going to go ahead and kick that down the road. We're not going to take that. We're not going to accept that. We're going to get up out of here with that one. We're going to fight him. And essentially, you flip-flop on whether, well, let's not say flip-flop. That's a terrible word. You don't really understand it because if we look at it in one angle, it doesn't match the other angle. If we look at it at the other angle, it doesn't match this angle. Fonnie T. Willis literally had a whole entire press conference upset that Christian Eppinger had got bond. But here's the funnier part about that whole entire thing. What we were told was not what we heard nor what we saw. We were told essentially that the cop told Mr. Eppinger, hey, turn around, put your hands on your head and all this stuff. Basically followed common protocol to arrest the suspect. And we had been had. She held a whole entire press conference. And it's amazing how Fonnie Willis says all of these things, but forgets the one primary thing. You accuse people of doing things that you're constantly doing now. And the biggest one is lying. But you know what? Let's hear from the actual footage of that day with this officer that just so happened to get out of his body and unfortunately get shot.
Is accused of shooting a veteran Atlanta police officer several times last year while he was being taken into custody.
6170, 6160, you up on SOS? On the ground, boy. On the ground. On the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
A newly released body cam video showing the moment an Atlanta police officer was shot 6 times. Fulton County's district attorney and Atlanta's police chief sharing the video to illustrate exactly why they're outraged that a judge granted the suspect bond just 2 days ago.
Brittany Klein-Peter explains what they're trying to do in the next 24 hours to keep him from being released. And we do want to warn you that the video is disturbing.
In the video, Officer David Rogers can be seen pulling up on a street in southwest Atlanta in February while trying to serve a warrant. He jumps out of the car and struggles with a man. Then you see the man shoot Officer Rogers, who falls to the ground. The man then can be seen running away.
This is a most atrocious act of violence.
Officer Rogers survived, and Christian Eppinger was arrested soon after. He is now facing 13 charges, including attempted murder, and has been in jail ever since. But DA Fonnie Willis says a Fulton County magistrate judge granted a $65,000 bond for Eppinger on Monday.
We want to make sure that this gentleman does not get out of jail. In fact, we want to make sure that in my lifetime, he never sees society again.
Under Georgia law, defendants have the right to a grand jury hearing within 90 days or be granted bond. DA Willis says Eppinger has been in jail for 71 days and she planned to indict him before that 90-day mark. But she believes the judge felt pressure to grant bond because of that deadline.
He had such crimes of violence already against him that was an inappropriate act.
DA Willis says she's filed an emergency hearing for 5 p.m. tomorrow for reconsideration of that bond. She's also pushing to change courthouse procedures so that only Superior Court judges can grant bond in violent crimes like this, not magistrate judges. 11 Alive's legal analyst Paige Pate weighed in on that this afternoon.
Given the publicity surrounding cases like this, and I think the general public's reluctance to have potentially dangerous felons out on the street, she could possibly convince the Georgia legislature to change the law. But that's not a quick fix.
DA Willis says she's also looking into a separate case involving Eppinger from 2016, where she feels he was granted too light of a sentence. She's now trying to see if she can keep him in jail on a parole violation in that case for allegedly shooting Officer Rogers. Reporting in Atlanta, Brittany Klein-Peter, 11 Alive News.
Let's visit what the officer actually said, how it went down. And I'm just about to eviscerate the whole thing. And I think his lawyer will kind of take the same angle, because what is being positioned should be realigned. Watch this part. I find it interesting that the cop had a chance to watch the video and still forget it.
On to Cleveland Avenue. What did you do?
Turn left on the Cleveland Avenue, coming southbound from the interstate. We crossed the overpass, pulled up at Steel Road, made a left turn onto Steel Road, at which time I could see Mr. Eppinger walking through the complex, at which time I meant to go make contact with Mr. Eppinger.
And at the time when you went to go make contact with him, were you inside of the gate at 2637 Old Hayville Road?
Yes, ma'am. It was it's a block of homes right there at the entrance. I think I remember him being on the sidewalk.
And at that time, once you made entrance inside, do you know where your partner was?
I don't. Last I checked, he was behind me, turning off of Cleveland Ave on the Steel Road.
Okay. Once you got into the apartment complex and you see who you believe to be Mr. Eppinger, what did you do?
I tried to pull ahead of Mr. Eppinger, get out. I gave him commands, advising him that he did have paper. Also, told him he had warrants. He kind of looked at me, looked past me, proceeded to walk past me. At this time, I'm traveling behind Mr. Eppinger. I go to put hands on him, start to pull on him and things of that nature. And as I'm pulling on him, trying to grab him, I kind of start to look over my shoulder trying to locate my partner because Mr. Eppinger at the time was non-compliant, still walking, still kind of doing what he was doing. And when my partner wasn't there at that time, I chose to transition from lethal force, downgraded to my taser. Went to go tase Mr. Eppinger, but when I went to go access my taser, I couldn't drop the hood. I didn't drop the hood, and so when I turned my body to access it with my right hand is when I started feeling these shots.
So let's kind of slow that down, okay? Let me ask you this. At the time and when you went to go apprehend Mr. Eppinger, did you have your body cam on?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have dash cam in your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now you said that you got out the car and you went to go and grab him. When you got out the car, did you have your gun?
Yes, ma'am. I had my gun drawn on him at first. Came out lethal force. He was known to carry weapons and things of that nature. And like I said, I go to put my hands on him because he kind of walks past me. After I told him who I was, announced my agency, let him know that he had warrants. He kept proceeding down the sidewalk. And so as I'm engaged with him, I'm kind of looking back over my shoulder for my partner, and he isn't coming, so I had to switch to another plan since I wasn't physically able to overcome him. And so at that time, I holstered my weapon and decided to switch over to my taser. Had trouble accessing my taser.
What made you decide to switch from your gun to your taser?
Just the sheer size of him. I knew I wasn't going to be able to overpower him, but at the time he didn't have anything in his hands. And so I felt it necessary to transition.
Okay. And so when you went to go transition to your taser, were you able to draw your taser out?
No, ma'am. I stumbled with my taser, with my left hand, at which time I reached over with my right. And at that point, he had flanked me and started to fire upon me.
Okay. And when you say he started to flank you, what did that mean?
So he had veered off to my right side.
Okay. And then, did you see when he drew his weapon?
I did not.
Okay. What was the first thing that you felt?
Just a warm sensation. But I knew something was wrong because when I went to re-access my weapon, I could not have use of that arm. And when I turned around to track his person, all I remember seeing was the muzzle of the gun, the white pants, the black jacket. But at that point, I was pretty much out of the fight.
And we say you were out of the fight. What do you mean?
It's even after reaching for him, I feel like I remember reaching for him with my left hand, but my body was kind of beginning to shut down, probably from the blood loss. I don't know.
Okay.
All right. So let me lay this flat out. I'm not a real lawyer. I'm just a hood lawyer. All that means is I have developed propensities to find out things about law that should apply and things that don't, because all that is application of law. Never passed the bar, never took the LSATs, never did anything like that. I went to college for anything of that nature. But let's just get to it. I just had to put that disclaimer out there because there are some people who swear I'm just running around. We don't care about that. So, couple of facts. First one, big one. You basically said that Christian Eppinger was known to have firearms, right? Okay. Perfectly fine. That he was a violent offender, right? All right, cool. You also said that your partner was on the way, you just didn't know where he was at, right? Okay. So, he was a bigger person, he overpowered you, you knew he was bigger in stature than you, and you decided to still go after him. When you approached Christian Eppinger, you drew your firearm, or you didn't draw, you already had it out. And you basically did not sound like an officer at all. You said, get down on the ground, boy. All of these things that were not becoming of a police officer. If protocol is right, and if you did everything that you were supposed to do, why didn't you wait for your partner? From what we've seen you jump out with your firearm, grabbing this man. This man asked you, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Now, how he beats the freaking charge of basically the assault on the officer, I don't know. But from what it looked like and how that officer's whole entire demeanor, one could say he was in fear for his life. And based off of his tone, based off of his aggression, based off of his demeanor, based off of every act done by that officer to, one, not de-escalate the situation. He was going to shoot that man with that taser. He basically let y'all know that. So there's that part. Added with, you didn't wait on your partner because you already had an agenda before you got there. Your agenda was not apprehending this person. Your agenda was to stroke your ego. Why do we know that to be the truth? Because when he said he didn't know where his partner was, he sure as hell went ahead and, hey, start calling for his partner then. I'm hit, I'm shot, I'm hit, I'm shot. So you already knew with the quickness and with the urgency, you could have called your partner and you chose not to. Would it have not been that difficult to do the same thing? Does it look like Christian Eppinger was running? Did it even look like he was paying attention? It looked like dude just walking down the sidewalk. I'm just saying. You got that added with the fact that your partner wasn't even that far out. So y'all could have coordinated a regular attack where one could have cut him off right here. Another could have cut him off right there. Guns drawn, taking cover, like most officers would do. Then you keep your firearm or your officer where your partner basically could have held the firearm or, well, service weapon, pardon me, can't call it that. Your service weapon at Christian Eppinger while you went and apprehended him. You decided to not do that. Why? Why? That almost cost that officer his life. His aggression, his stupidity, his need and want to basically bully somebody. That officer has a complex about him. I'm going to be fair, square, obvious, and honest. And I hate to say this, but I can't feel bad for him. I can't feel bad for him. I didn't like you pulling up on the side and calling all type of boys and all this. That messes with me as a man. I'm a grown. Who you calling a boy? I'm one of those dudes who I don't like when people say, "What's up, my boy? What up, my boy? What's going on, my boy?" I still don't like it personally. But, you know, that's the common phrase with people and stuff like that. And no, I'm not bringing race or anything. I'm just me. I'm an old man, so I would like to be treated like an old man. Give me my senior citizen discount at Denny's real quick so I can get my 30% off. That's the type of old man I am. I want all the discounts. I want to be able to say crazy stuff and y'all just go, that's just that crazy ass old man Nash. That's what I would like. But back to the subject at hand. Yeah, we're not going for that. Added with the fact of it's going to be bad. I don't see Christian Eppinger beating them charges. Christian Eppinger was brought in to essentially be the bad apple in the whole entire bunch that can contaminate all the other apples. Because if this person is glaring and everybody else ain't, they all will. So when we look at it, we know why he's there. Ain't nothing about anything that he did had anything to do with a Rico. At all. Apprehension of somebody by themselves, where's the Rico in that? Maybe y'all can help me out. Put in the comments if you can help me out. If you can, indulge into apophenia where you can find out where the Rico is, because I don't see it. See, part of this that has never been proven, unless somebody signed on the dotted line, was Rico at all. We went basically 2 years for two people to come down the line and one person get caught by throwing a freaking gun out of the freaking car with the helicopter going. That's what we wasted millions of dollars on. So unfortunately, these remaining 5 are going to be fried in the eyes of the public because of Christian Eppinger. Just going to be fair, square, obvious, and honest. Now, that's not to say Fegan and everybody else can't do their thing and basically beat the charges. I'm just saying it's difficult. I don't see what they see. Do I see assault on an officer? Yeah. But do I see attempted murder? No. But he's going to be fried, bro. I don't see Christian Eppinger beating that laundry list of charges that he has, because their strategy is going to be refined, retuned, retooled, everything. And they're about to come after this. And I guarantee you when it's done, and so far, this the only person, we'll get to the rest of them next week. This the only person where it's going to look like, yeah, YSL is as violent as they seem until you hear the freaking dash cam video, the audio of it before Christian Eppinger was even freaking detained. And on top of that, I ain't gonna hold you. I called the lawyer Jones. It was Johnson, but his lawyer basically getting a 17-page essay. Not a good look. Eppinger falling in love with the Kiba lady. Not good. But this is all to be a blemish on the face of it. But I'm gonna be fair. It ain't really gonna matter that much. We're gonna tune in because we nosy as hell. But we still want to see this whole entire thing pan itself out. But I don't think what we're going to see out of Christian Eppinger is a big old monster of a person that just was out there doing stupid stuff. It's just going to look like product of his environment, which ultimately falls on the people of the community as well as it does the individual. And the people of the community means the community leaders, the mothers, the fathers, the uncles, the aunties, the grandpas, the grandmas, the mayors, the aldermen. All of those individuals all fail these people. When we sit back and we look at certain things, and I want you to not be pissed off when I say this. How do we get rid of prisons? Some of y'all are so programmed to believe that you couldn't get rid of prisons that you would probably be with the group that says defund the police is a bad thing. If we look at how do we get rid of prisons, start it off on a good foot. Well, we should probably look at early childhood education. We should probably look at where the kids literally fail between 3 to essentially 8 o'clock. We should look at the way in which we feed our children. That's how. I said, how do we get rid of them? Not that we're going to get rid of them completely by tomorrow, but how do we reduce so much negativity, so much bad behavior, so many people doing the wrong thing where they think that it's cool? There are so many people who are blaming rap music for certain things that they forget that before rap music, all of this stuff already existed. Y'all forget, a lot of this crap already existed. So when you're showing a reflection of something, sometimes people don't like the reflection. So they'll break the mirror. And then when they break the mirror, they're blaming the shards of glass instead of saying, I didn't like the reflection. And to the defund the police thing, if you love police, you should 100% support that. Why? Because police officers shouldn't be getting called for every single freaking thing. Everything? We can't get a specialized group of officers that can handle people with mental disabilities, right? We got to send somebody who's uneducated on how to handle those individuals, who is only trained to literally put people down. They're not trained for a whole bevy of things. We're sitting up here wasting precious time with real crimes that are happening that you would send a police officer to dispute whether somebody should get their money back because somebody put extra ketchup on their freaking hamburger. Are you serious? That's the essence of defund the police, is reallocating this stuff. Making sure that we use different divisions. We already do it in a sense. We have gang unit. We have ATF, DEA, FBI. So we already have it. We just don't have it on the smaller levels of this all. in my opinion, every cop that basically carries a firearm should probably have somebody with them that can actually save a life too, just for the possibility that they got it wrong. Because death is permanent. It's a one-on-one. But anyway it goes, with Christian Eppinger, bro, I think he's going to have a case, and I don't think that they're going to allow the case to infiltrate their minds. I think once basically that officer gets back on the stand, he's not going to have the same dang testimony. We'll probably do a comparison of what he said here and what he said there. And when we sit there and we do all this stuff, we're going to go, oh, wow, he's been training. It's like watching a skinny person disappear for a couple of months and they all, oh, no, they've been training. That's what's going to end up happening. Because that testimony that he gave wasn't that good. Was not that good. You want to know how I know it wasn't that good? Because when we watched it, everybody said the same dang old thing. What the hell does this have to do with the case? What the hell does this have to do with Rico? And then we start seeing people in the jail cells talking about free him and all this crap and all the dumb shit that you could do. But these were by little kids. This was by Lil Rod and all them, which we don't believe Lil Rod has the mental capacity to behave like an adult. Hell, even insurance companies will tell you need to be 25 years old in order for you to rent a car. So I ask you all this simple question. Do you think it'll be fair? Do you believe in your heart of hearts that as you've seen the evidence that we already gathered, that he's going to get a fair trial? Because I don't. I don't. That footage that we have that shows what happened when the cop got out there and everything like that, bro, that cop looked like a damn thug. That cop looked like a thug. Because I thought you approach with the taser, and if it seems like it's going to be escalated further, then you draw your service weapon. I thought the taser come first, and then the gun comes second. That's what I thought. But I also thought if you thought somebody was a grave danger to people, that you wait for your backup to get there. That's what I thought. I'm not a cop. According to rumors, I'm the feds. But no. Yeah, no, I don't get it. To me, it's not making sense. But maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe I got this one wrong and you got a better theory. Or maybe we should have expounded on a couple of things. We know these lawyers watch these channels, so let's see what we can come up with, man. The community tab is open, all that stuff. Join our community if you want to. If you don't, the shit, leave a like, put it in the algorithm, and argue if y'all want to. Yeah, man, we just hit 200K. We on our way to 300, man. Subscribe today so you can find out how you can win an Xbox or a PlayStation, man. The details are on the way. This is how you know somebody is literally going to be in the drawing. Robin Minter, check him out, man. All we do is go down and we look and we see his subscriptions. Who does he have? He has Setting Ash right here. What also happens, take that off. Top commenter. That right here, public subscriber. So that's what you got to do, and make sure you share each video, and then you'll be entered to win. Shout out to Mike. Good luck. Subscribe, turn that bell, stay notified, and share to keep your people aware. I'll catch you on the next one.